It's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, October 4th. So we do have the moon void, of course, coming into the early hours of the morning as we prepare to lock into Aquarian energy. So we kind of talked about this in yesterday's forecast, how it's kind of strange that pretty much every day this week, -1, we are experiencing a void in the moon as we head into bedtime. Again, really kind of making our dream state, making our sleep state a little bit disrupted, a little bit kind of strange and unusual. We are definitely going to be feeling the shift because we are moving from that earth energy of Capricorn to the high vibrational energy of Aquarius. We get that air energy. We're kind of moving out of the physical body, being stuck in this present moment, to go up into the observer mentality, to kind of grasp a vision, a dream, a path forward on where it is that we're actually trying to move. Now, the Aquarian energy typically kind of emotionally detaches us from some of the situations and circumstances that have just been overwhelming and super consuming. We are definitely looking to free ourselves from some of the blocks and restrictions that we should have identified are standing in our way from moving freely, from kind of achieving freedom and independence in our lives. That Capricorn energy definitely illuminates where it is that we have some blocks and challenges to overcome, and this Aquarian energy is going to help us with the visual on what it is that we need to do to push past it. This Aquarian energy also has us kind of looking to bust free from the mundane tasks and chores, from the same old, anything that is kind of outside of our routine, outside of our comfort zone, we are definitely more attracted to. This could be, opening up our minds of new ways of doing things and putting ourselves out there in different situations, finding, new interests, new topics and themes, to actually be more appealing than sticking with some of the same old things that we have grown a little bit too attached to, a little bit too comfortable in. So we will have the moon moving into this Aquarian energy, locking in at 6:21 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which means that, again, we're waking up with a brand new energy. Before the moon actually shifts into this Aquarian energy, though, while it's still void, of course, in this Capricorn energy, we are going to be bumping into Mars. Mars, of course, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passions, how it is that we pursue those passions and desires, and where it is that we physically exert ourselves to move through life. Of course, Mars is in Gemini energy, preparing to go retrograde at the end of the month. Download the forecast if you haven't already, your zodiac forecast, to know where this is going to show up in your life. And with the moon and Mars kind of interacting right now, we are definitely tapping into a boss up energy where we are more determined, more inspired than ever before to get down to the nitty gritty and do what we have to do to clean up the mess of the past, to free us up with a clean slate in the here and now so that we can start going after some of the elements that we need to bring to life in order to set this new path, this new direction, this new choice point on what it is that we're going to pursue from here. We're likely going to have a lot of very aggressive ideas, inspired ideas that we're actually going to be able to take action on, especially seeing as, Capricorn energy is the manifester. Once we have a vision, once we have a dream, once we're inspired, once there's a to-do list, we're actually able to do what we can, taking control in the here and now, even over the smallest details, in order to get us one step further, even in alignment with actually being able to pursue this new direction, this new path, this new vision, this new goal. So we do have the moon shifting into this Aquarian energy, like I had mentioned, 6:21 a.m. The moon in Aquarius makes a very favorable aspect with Chiron, the wounded healer, who is retrograde in Aries energy. And what we get from this is, first of all, lucky for us, with this Aquarian energy, we can kind of check out from our emotions. Now, that doesn't mean that we stop feeling, it just means that we're not allowing our feelings to dictate what it is that we are seeing. This Aquarian energy is visionary, and we're able to act as the observer and kind of, step outside of ourselves, step outside of those emotions that have been very intense for us lately, to see what we can see, to see what's going on, to see the connection, to see the pattern, to see the lesson. Chiron, of course, the wounded healer, illuminating our wounds, but of course, triggering the wisdom, the resources, the knowledge within us in order to heal them. This is a positive aspect, which means that we have this observer mentality. We're able to see the connections. We're able to see where it is that we've made some growth, that we are healing some wounds, that we are being very progressive in making sure that we are pushing ourselves to not only address the darker parts of us, but to also celebrate the lighter parts of us and to celebrate some of the wounds that we have been successful in bringing a scab to. So the moon goes ahead and sextiles, which is a beautiful energy, with Jupiter, the planet of growth and improvement, of beliefs, of blessings. And he tends to magnify or turn the volume up on whatever it is that we're thinking and feeling. We're actually in a very good vibration right now. We want to kind of put ourselves out there in a different way. We want to connect with our friends, with our group, with our network, with our community. We're really striving for happiness. Of course, we're in Libra season, so happiness and peace and balance and harmony are the goals. And this is what I'm going to say the first time in a while that we have been feeling these vibrations and frequencies where we're really setting our sights on putting ourselves out there to achieve those happiness goals. Now, the moon is going to bump into Mars in such a way that would suggest that here's a little bit of friction, a little bit of conflict. We have to consider the fact that Aquarius energy that the moon is in, Gemini energy that Mars is in, they are both air energies, but this isn't an agreement between them. We're kind of at odds. Here's the thing. The Aquarian energy that our moon is in, our emotions, our intuition is in, is big and broad, seeing the big picture, very futuristically focused. While Mars, being in Gemini energy actually rules over the lower level intellect. So we're very connected to our present selves, to our ego. We are bringing in data and information and statistics and cues from our immediate realm. And this is the problem. There's a part of us emotionally that really wants to focus on our goals for the future, what it is we want to strive for, what it is that we want to plan for. While Mars, who actively wants to take action to pursue some of those goals, can't really see past the current situation, past the current circumstances. We're having a hard time recognizing that there is a forest beyond the trees. And this is why we're kind of having this little bit of conflict. It's not a huge conflict, but we're just unsure on how it is that we're supposed to take action to align ourselves with the greater, grander vision and dream when there are certain aspects of our here and now that just don't make sense for us to pour into something that we can't tangibly see yet without, really kind of pushing aside our logical, practical mindset. Mars at this point in this Gemini energy is very, very debatable, very confused if we allow the pros and cons to overwhelm us to the point where we're in a state of paralysis where we can't take action, and very argumentative, very combative, especially within the two parts of ourselves, not to mention that can spill over into our personal relationships, and we can see that combativeness, the argumentative style really, really come to the surface. So emotionally speaking, because we are in this Aquarian energy trying to detach emotionally from this present moment, Mars, on the other hand, is trying to keep us in this present moment and only make moves based off of our current perspective, our current understanding, our current circumstances. So this is why we're kind of feeling this tug of war. We don't know where to pour our energy into based off of the trust that we need to have to not let our current circumstances dictate what is actually possible for us. The moon in Aquarius is going to trine, which is a beautiful energy, with Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and worth and pleasure and money, who is in Libran energy. She is in her place of power. So the Aquarian energy, the Libran energy, both air energies, which means that we're jiving here. This is a good interaction. And what we're getting from this is that there is this emotional intensity to want to really kind of free ourselves up from some of the lingering, I'm going to say, pressures to make everything right, to find this stability, to find this peace, to find this harmony. And sometimes when we just kind of sit in the moment and recognize that we can be happy in this moment, even if there are circumstances outside of us that don't seem so happy, that we can actually change our perspective, change our emotions, change our vibration altogether. We are looking for positive interactions. We are kind of in the light and fluffy vibe. We do want to kind of detach from the funk that we've been in, because we've realized over the last couple of days that maybe it's not other people that's actually, upsetting us and disappointing us and, really putting us in a funk. Maybe it's our expectations of those people that have put us in this funk. And because we've kind of realized this, because of course the Aquarian energy is the higher realm of intelligence, we're able to act as the observer and see ourselves, the part that we're playing in our own unhappiness, by trying to see where it is that we're putting a lot of pressure, not only on ourselves, but on other people. And what we do when we have expectations is we essentially set ourselves up for great disappointment. We should not expect very much, especially from other people. When you consider how hard it is to change yourself, that really puts into perspective how hard it is to change someone else. So at this moment, we're just kind of, we're cutting ties with what it is that we're disappointed in. We're just, it doesn't mean we're not going to revisit it. It just means that in this moment, we're going to try to find peace in this present moment. We're going to try find happiness in this present moment. We're going to try to pour our happiness, our vibrations and frequency, our joy, our pleasure into our interactions, keeping things light and fluffy and just kind of freeing ourselves from the funk. The moon is going to semi-square, which is a little bit of a tension, with Neptune. Neptune is retrograde in Pisces energy, creating the little bit of fog, that blindfold we talked about, especially as Mercury is coming direct. We were really hoping for a lot of information, a lot of forward movement, a lot of clarity. We're not really experiencing that right now because Neptune, in opposition of Mercury, is, again, adding this layer of confusion, adding this blindfold effect, adding this little bit of vagueness and fogginess to really blur the lines on the reality, the truth of what is. So the moon in Aquarius kind of semi-squaring, just applying a little bit of pressure to Neptune right now, is really just trying to get us in our higher realm of thought on what it is that we want to visualize. And the visualizations for what it is that we want to bring to life, it may be hard to align with that right now. It may be hard to get new ideas, to get new details, to be inspired to pursue this path of manifesting our dreams. Don't let that deter you. This is just a little bit of a glitch, a little bit of a funk that's going on in the cosmos as Mercury is trying to basically get the crusties out of his eyes from his month-long slumber and unconsciousness. And Neptune is just kind of adding a little bit of discombobulation to this process, making it very hard for us to align with our higher selves, with our intuition, and with the dreams that we're looking to actually manifest. The moon is going to bump into Mercury in, I'm going to say, not the nicest way. This isn't a huge conflict. This isn't a huge tension point, but it's uncomfortable enough to bring attention to what it is that we're kind of frustrated about not having clarity on as of yet. So lucky for us, like I said, we have the emotional detachment of this Aquarian energy, but we're interacting with Mercury, who is in his place of power in this Virgo energy. We are direct. We're only 2 days into this directness, so we're still expecting a lot of resolution, a lot of clarity that just isn't happening right now. And let me just remind you, the more expectations you put on life, the more disappointed you will be. So it is a lot easier just to accept things the way that they are right now, trusting the process and knowing that, you know what, today we're just not going to solve our problems. We're not going to solve the world. But the moon in Aquarius really does want to push us to think about the future. And Mercury is kind of just like, you know what, I need a couple minutes. I can barely even figure out where I'm at right now. I'm a little bit still confused about what has transpired over this past month. And to be fair, Mercury woke up, yes, just a couple of days ago, but he woke up at the beginning of September. He has a lot of pieces that he needs to piece together to make sense of all the things that have transpired since the end of August, the beginning of September. And here we are, entering into October, really anticipating a lot of change, a lot of transformation, a lot of clarity. And we're putting a lot of expectations on Mercury just to wake up out of this unconscious slumber after a month and to know where he's at, know his bearings, and be caught up and up to speed with all the comings and goings of the past month. We're really expecting a lot. So there is a lot of pressure in the mental plane. There's still a lot of confusion going on, trying to piece together what it is that has taken place, where it is that it has left us in this present moment. And of course, what we're going to do with this information to move forward. Keep in mind, Mercury, very much in its place of power in Virgo energy, just wants to fix things. But right now, there's a whole month that we really did not process properly. And so in order to come up with the solutions for this present moment and for the future that we're trying to gain clarity on, we got to give Mr. Mercury just a chance to chill, to put the pieces together. He has a little bit more review and reflection that he needs to do before he's going to be caught up and in a mind frame in order to fix some of the things that fell apart and that got broken over this past month while he was retrograde. Lastly, we are going to have Mercury make a very positive interaction with Saturn. So Mercury is in Virgo energy, just waking up out of the retrograde. Saturn is retrograde in Aquarian energy. This is a beautiful interaction because what this does, first of all, Saturn grounds us out. He brings us back down to earth. He puts the blinders on. He kind of gives us a reality check. Mercury over here in Virgo energy just wants to analyze, wants to focus in on the details, needs all the comings and goings of all the things that have happened in order for us to piece together, the situations that popped off while Mercury was retrograde that he really didn't have much control of or awareness of in order to kind of get us up to speed. So having Mercury, the mental plane, with the Lord of Karma and the ruler over roles and responsibilities and structures and foundations coming together, this is like them, scheduling a meeting and saying, listen, Mercury's like, listen, I don't know if I was drugged. I don't know if I ate something bad, but I've been unconscious for the last month. And I just woke up and there's all kinds of people at me trying to figure everything out and trying to come up with solutions to the problems that I'm not even aware of popped off because I haven't processed that yet. And there's a lot of pressure on me to figure everything out and to get up to speed because apparently not only do I have to fix the problems of the past, but I need to come up with solutions on how it is that we're going to move forward and plan for the future. And I am lacking data. I am lacking a grounded point. I'm a little bit overwhelmed here. Can you help me out? And Saturn's like, you know what? Let's sit down. Let's slow down. Let's look at each individual piece of information, piece of data at each at one time. Let's sort things out. Let's put them into categories. Let's create order out of this chaos. And let's just get down to the nitty gritty here. Here's a set of blinders so that we aren't going to get distracted by the pressure coming from the outside world. Let's just focus on one thing at a time. So these two are working together in order to kind of gain a better understanding of all the things that have taken place over the last month and to sort things out, to create order out of chaos, to put things in their place, to hone in on what is actually broken right now in order for us to fix that and heal that first and foremost. What do we have to clean up in order to get a clean slate here so that we can start, doing new things and adding to our present day to start building towards the future? So this particular energy is going to have us very honed in on what it is that is still broken, still needs to be fixed, still is kind of crazy, needs to be put in its place, needs a little bit of order, needs sorting out. We have to give ourselves a little bit of time, a little bit of space in order to catch up and actually process all that has transpired over this past month.